Big hello and greetings from Belgrade. My dear friend, my name is Dánko Vasovic, and I'm the author of the film you're going to see shortly. Unfortunately, I can't be happy for not being together with you, and I must say the blame is on the side of Canadian authorities who clearly made obstruction of the truth, as I did everything what was necessary in time, so more than 2 months, around 3 months, I've made application for visa and I didn't get in time. So it opens serious question about having this event in coincidence with another big event at the UN about the resolution on Srebrenica, blaming Serbs to be genocidal people. So I'm not going to talk any longer about this issue, but I want to say that I'm so happy you're going to see my film. At first place, because, see, I cooperated with Simon Wiesenthal, and when I was in his office in Salzburggasse 6 in Vienna, in Jüdische Dokumentationszentrum, one of the first things he told me, who will speak for the victims? It really fully opened my mind and to think and to get the all answers. So also one of the first things that Simon Wiesenthal taught me is I don't trust in coincidence. So it cannot be coincidence in any way that I didn't obtain and didn't get my visa to be together with you. So most important is done. We are on our way to fulfill our sacred duty and to speak for the victims. My film is product and the result of 4 decades of long, hard investigation that includes personal visit to all most important archives like Berlin Documentation Center, like Military Archive in Koblenz, like the Archive of Yugoslavia and the Archive of Zagreb, which has all documents about the Jasenovac, and also especially military historical archive and institute of former armed forces of Yugoslav army. I was also in National Archive in Washington. So all archives have been checked. Also, it's important to tell you that I owe great thanks to late Vlado Dedijer, who was a president of the Commission for Genocide of Yugoslav Academy of Science. So I owe to him special gratefulness, as he picked me and I was his personal advisor till the end of his life. What is important also to mention and to tell you, we were working very hard, organizing and preparing the big symposium on Jasenovac, because Vlado Dedijer didn't want to leave this world without saying the last word about the Jasenovac. He always told me the Jasenovac was hidden. The issue was hidden for political reasons, and that was the Tito's personal order for the sake of the brotherhood of the 6 nations consist of Yugoslavia. So there was no mentioning, there was no room to investigate and to come out with the full truth about the Jasenovac. Just imagine, the first monument was built in 1965, which means 20 years after the Second World War. So talking about our sacred duty to speak for the victims, it's especially because Jasenovac is really not only the biggest grave, Serbian grave on earth, it's also big Jewish cemetery under the earth, and a lot of Roma. You know basic facts about the Jasenovac, that this is the third largest concentration and extermination camp in Second World War, third biggest as number of victims, but the most horrible and the worst if you're talking about the way how the people were killed. So people at the Nuremberg trial to Nazi war criminals, they established in all four books, British, Soviet, Russian, German, and French, talking about Jasenovac. So Nuremberg court established clear number of 700,000 victims. So if anyone wants to correct, he must come out with the precise data and results, which now it's really with this historical distance and the time distance of 8 years, it's very hard to do. So the best is to stick with the findings of the Nuremberg trial. I also cooperated on this symposium on Jasenovac. Everything was prepared, and all most important authorities accepted the invitation and confirmed the arrival. Simon Wiesenthal said, yes, I'm coming. Professor Gerald Fleming from the Surrey University in England, he said, for sure I'm coming. He was the best expert for the recent history and also on Holocaust issues. Professor distinguished Yehuda Wallach from Tel Aviv University confirmed his arrival, as well as best German historian at that time, it was Professor Manfred Messerschmidt, who lived at Freiburg and who really knew all documentation of the Koblenz archive, military archive in Koblenz. So in the last moment, even personally President of Serbia Milosevic strictly banned, because his friends from other 6 republics, especially from Croatia and Bosnia-Herzegovina, said that this must not happen, that would be terrible. It would be like opening Pandora's box. So this symposium with the most prestigious experts unfortunately never took place and never happened. Somehow I took as my own mission as being the author of the book, and in Wikipedia it is said that that was discovery of the biggest intelligence media case of the 20th century. I'm talking about the Volkham affair that fully discovered that the Austrian former President Kurt Waldheim and 10 years General Secretary was a heavy war criminal. Heavy war criminal on the A list, on the United Nations War Crime Commission. They put him on an A list. It means he must be responsible. He must be responsible to be brought to justice because the crimes are so heavy. So, knowing all these things, I really received as my duty to continue the work of Vlado Dedijer, and I started working on the film. So the film you're going to see is very special in two senses. It has nothing to do with any researcher. This is the first-hand documentation, first-hand look of the best Croatian camera. So it's Ustasha Combat Camera, Croatian camera, who made this film. So we have nothing to discuss about the authenticity. And you know who is the author of the screenplay? It's a favorite, Hitler's best war correspondent, Kurt Neher, who will be forgotten for eternity. But I found, and I got his report from Mountain Kozera, that was a spring summer 1942, from the Professor Robert Hedstein, professor of history on South Carolina University. He was professor of history, and he was in charge at that time by World Jewish Congress to establish and to say the truth about the ЯСЕНОВАЦ. So what I'm saying, the screenplay is the best Hitler's war correspondent, and the camera is best Croatian combat camera. So you have, for the first time, never presented film about whose authenticity cannot be brought in question. That is the special importance of this film. There is also another aspect that you will find in this film, and I must say honestly, and that is the part where the role of the former Archbishop of Zagreb, Alojzije Stepinac, is fully recognized. Even, this is not exaggeration, as a war criminal. But for sure, you will see on the basis and the findings of the documentation that Alojzije Stepinac should never be proclaimed saint, as he is under special procedure in Vatican. He is already in the process, so-called process of beatification, and they want to pronounce him a saint. You will see that on the basis of the documents he can be. You will see for the first time his letter that is only in my possession, and this letter can be found also among private things of Cardinal Stepinac in Camera Caritatis in the Vatican City. Not on disposal of researchers and historians all over the world. So you will see that at that time, Archbishop Stepinac did everything in order to save the military and political leaders of Croatia who committed incredible crimes. And he did it. He found the most faithful among them all on a so-called annual bishop conference, and that was his best friend, Krunoslav Draganovic, who personally took the mission to transfer the gold. And that was the gold, as Simon Wiesenthal said, you know, even when Hitler in Auschwitz, Mauthausen, Dachau, Buchenwald fulfilled extermination of Jews and other Slavs, he never forgot to take the gold of their teeth. So this gold from ЯСЕНОВАЦ, Krunoslav Draganovic transferred in cooperation with Cardinal Stepinac directly to Vatican, and you have all proofs about that. These proofs include special confidential documents from the Emerson Bigelow, former top agent of Office of Strategic Services, who was predecessor of CIA, who informed about this transfer of gold, Director of Monetary Reserve, Harold Gleiser. So the documents and the proofs are irrefutable. So you're going to see the film. I'm emphasizing once more about the place where crimes were not industrial matter, like it was in Auschwitz with the Zyklon B, when they said to the Jews and all other people sent in extermination camp to take a bath, and then they just put the Zyklon B. So in ЯСЕНОВАЦ, that is what I want to say. It was a manual work. So far we know there is around 60 ways how to kill the people, even babies, in the hands of mothers, even in the womb of mothers, to kill everything, because that was the way that Croatia had a signature committing genocide. I was shocked with such monstrous way to kill the people with special knife designed for killings of Serbs. But you know what? I'm born in December 29, 1952, and I lived in, I can say, happy times. But I learned the history much later because we were caught by the history and by the past. So I realized what happened in Croatia in 1942 till 1945. I thought it was something incredible. Such amount of crimes, such a brutality, such a cruelty. Not even to kill the people with the bullets, but with the sledgehammers, with the knives, to suck their blood. So those are incredible things. And then I realized that there is a historical alliance between the Vatican and the Croats. This alliance was put in the fact probably for the first time in 1610 till 1648. It was a famous 30-year religious war in Germany when Croats were invited as a part of Austro-Hungarian Legion. But the crimes they did are the worst and will remain forever, that it was written even in cathedral in Magdeburg, "Oh my God, please save me from the plague and the Croats." So this was a proven historical alliance, and Vatican galvanized in some other cases also some other countries, like it was the famous massacre on the night of Saint Bartholomew in France, when Huguenots were so many crucified, killed. So for Vatican, it was almost business as usual. And it's on us who are still alive to continue our mission, to speak for the victims. But now, in the third millennium, I must say bitterly that I'm deeply disappointed because we didn't keep our pledge never again. We promised never again, but it happened again. It should never happen, but it happened. We have incredible rise of Nazism today. We We have ongoing conflict in Ukraine. We have total extermination. Who is going to survive? In Middle East. The whole world is literally on the brink of the Third World War, with pretty good possibility to annihilate the mankind. My dear friends, wishing you all the best. Please take a look on the film, and I hope that would be good enough that this year's conference send a strong message that the Cardinal Stepinac should never be pronounced holy and sent by Vatican.